In the first 5 matches of the season, the Quakes have had their ups and downs, and as they struggled to regain their winning ways, they decided to split the difference against Seattle and get their first draw of the season in match day 6. It was a game that showed elements of good and elements of bad, and we're here to talk about it. My name is Kevin, I'm joined by Luis, and together we're the Quakesaholics. Luis, what are your first initial thoughts on this game?
Yeah, unlike last season, I think we bent, we cracked, but we didn't break.
Reflecting on the game, I think the phrase that comes to mind for me is that it was really a tale of two halves, as cliche as that might sound. So starting with the first half of the game, it was pretty clear that the Quakes drastically switched their tactics from the game against Charlotte. Against Charlotte, it felt like we were doing more of like a man marking. In this game, it felt like it was more zonal defending and a lot of high pressing. That was the thing that really stood out to me. You can see throughout the whole first half that, especially Judd, he was pressing a lot up the field. Buddha was doing the same. Really, all the forwards and I think all of the midfielders, really Harks, Beau, everyone was involved in pressing high, trying to win the ball really high in the field. But I don't feel like the defenders were compromising their positions and also trying to press. It felt a lot more balanced than when we saw against Charlotte. And I mean, we'll get into it, but it worked out and we were rewarded with a goal for that pressing. Of the players that were pressing, I think this was where Preston Judd was really able to shine. I came out of this game thinking this was probably one of Judd's best games for the Quakes in his year and almost a half now. And I mean, you look at the stats and you'd probably question that, thinking like he didn't get any shots on goals, he didn't get any goals. Why is that? And I think his pressing was first of all, his pressing directly led to two opportunities where Stefan Fry, the Sounders goalkeeper, had a pass that was blocked and it kind of left the Seattle defense scrambling. And in one of those, had the ball bounced just a little bit more favorably for Preston Judd, it would have been in a more natural position. He could have even capitalized and scored a goal on that. And then I think that kind of set the momentum to continue pressing for the rest of the half. And we just kind of see that the Seattle defense was just getting shakier and shakier, unable to leave their third of the field. And ultimately that resulted in Leroux's first goal.
Yeah, in terms of the starting lineup too, I don't think there were too many surprises given the injuries and the players that were out on international duty. But the one surprise that we did have, of course, was Reid Roberts having his first MLS start. So congratulations to him. I felt like, there were a few moments, to be honest, where he did feel a little bit shaky. I mean, I bet there's a lot of nerves that go with that. It's a big jump going from the college level to MLS level. But I also think he did well to get into the game more as the game went on.
Yeah, and while Reid Roberts did show some moments of shakiness, I definitely think that it seems pretty obvious that Beau was the highlight of this game. He was the star of this game. And there's a lot of reasons to be excited about that, right? Like, first and foremost, this is a San Jose native. He grew up playing here. He played at San Jose State University. He just got drafted. He was given that opportunity in the first game of the season by Bruce Arena. He capitalized on that, and he's been riding that momentum up until this game. And he's been very consistent in all of the games that he's played in. He didn't get the start against Charlotte, but in every other game he has started, and he's usually played around 60 minutes before getting subbed off for Marc-Anthony Kaye. He isn't a starry, flashy midfielder like Hernan Lopez, for example, but it feels like he's always making the right decisions. And I think that is his star power. That is his hidden talent. Well, I mean, not hidden talent, but it's what he brings to the team. It's the consistency and the correct decision making. And he's been doing that since the first game. The game plans that he's been instructed, it seems like he's following through in every single minute that he's playing. And it's just, as a Quakes fan, it feels so nice to see him be rewarded with his first MLS goal. So, Beau, thank you and congrats.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we've sung Beau Leroux's praises a lot on this channel, but very much well-deserved. As Bruce Arena said in the post-match press conference, a pleasant surprise for sure for all of us. And yeah, he makes great decisions. He knows his position really well, especially, considering the small amount of time he's had. And he works, on and off the ball as well, right? Like you said, the goal came from reading a pass into midfield, and he capitalized on it. It was a bit of a fluky goal, but nonetheless, he still, made the most out of the chance he was given. And interestingly enough, Beau Leroux was the only player on the San Jose Earthquakes to register a shot on target. We had 0.51 XG on target, and Beau himself had 0.51 XG on target, right? Which suggests that he was the only player to really register a shot on goal. So just to be such a well-rounded player in midfield, it's really great to have him. And yeah, talking about standout performances, right? Danielle, of course, another big performance. There was a lot of times where in that second half, especially where I thought, Sounders are about to score here, right? And I was holding on to my breath, but he seems to always be able to do it, right? Just pull out a save, so calm as well. He brings a lot of calmness to the fans and more importantly to defenders around him as well. And yeah, he's merited a team of the week inclusion for his performance against Seattle. He is second in the league for both saves per 90 and goals prevented. And an interesting stat that I actually found was, which might have kind of contextualized the fluky nature of Beau Leroux's goal, is Stephen Fry actually, interestingly, is second to last in saves per 90 in the league and last in goals prevented. So I always saw Stephen Fry as a strong keeper between the sticks for Seattle, but I don't know. It seems to have maybe age has gone the best of him or something, but another great performance from Daniel, and it's really good to have him in the sticks for us.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time a Quakes player got, what was it, 4 ovations throughout the game. Like, yeah. Like getting 1 is a lot. Getting 2 is almost unheard of, but like 4, it's just crazy. Like every time that he got a save, the stadium would just light up for him, and well deserved again. So yeah, we've talked about some of the highlights, but of course we did get the draw. Seattle equalized around the 80th minute. So Luis, what do you attribute to that? What are some of the lowlights for this game?
Yeah, I think that the turning point actually for Seattle was subbing on Georgie Manungu, who was on the left wing for them. And, he was super quick and he was just having his way with Nick Lima, to be honest. I mean, he has been our starting right back, especially when we want to defend a bit better. But he was just, I don't know if it's match fitness or what, or just credit to Manungu. But yeah, it just seemed like every time he was running at goal, he was always the third in transition. And I think from that moment onward, the Earthquakes defense felt a little bit shaky. And like I said in the beginning of the video, we did crack at the end. It was a good shot from Rusnak. Unfortunately, me and you had a perfect view of it from the stands. But Sounders were putting on the pressure, but to be fair to the Quakes, maybe if we had seen this kind of performance last season, we would have came out of it with nothing. So a bit unfortunate, that's something to look at for Bruce Arena and for this team. But overall, I thought we defended well, and up until that substitution specifically, yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, looking back at the statistics too, I think a draw is probably objectively the fairest result given this game.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, basically every statistic just tells you that it really was a game of 2 halves. The first half was ours and the second half was theirs, and like you're saying, objectively, yeah, both teams deserved something out of this. It's not ideal, obviously, to get a draw at home and with a Western Conference rival, especially with it being Seattle, something that is, it's a significant opponent. I mean, we even have like the Heritage Cup around it, which, I mean, it took us this long to talk about it, but I do think that it's a good thing that the Heritage Cup has been getting the attention that it deserves. Like the Quakes social media accounts are really doing a great job marketing it because it is important. And we are one of the few teams in this league that actually has a very rich history, and to celebrate that is important. A little off topic, but it deserves its credit. But yeah, getting a draw at home, not the best, but neither is losing 3 in a row. And at this point, like, we just need any positive momentum we can get. The good thing is that our next opponent is DC United at home. So again, a lot of home games at the start of the season. I think that we need to capitalize on it, and yeah, continue with the momentum, please.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, kind of taking some time to reflect on this game. I think that, like you said, it's important for us to finally get out of that rut that was starting to build. I don't think we were fully in it, but it was starting to, kind of 3 losses back to back is not good, especially like you said, considering how home heavy our fixtures are at the beginning of this season. But then again, it was a draw at home, we were winning, and I do think there are still some concerns that I have, given the fact that Seattle Sounders were missing Jordan Morris from injury, we're missing Paul Arriola from injury. 2 key components to their offense this season have been and were big into the plans of the Seattle Sounders. And again, the statistic that I brought up about Beau Leroux being the only one with shots on target, that's great for him, but at the same time, is that a little bit concerning, with our offense? Again, I think that Joseph Martinez obviously didn't start this game, so hopefully we can integrate him back into the team, have him start for next match against DC, and hopefully get a win.
Yeah, agreed. Reintegrating Joseph after he's been gone with Venezuela for World Cup qualifiers is going to be a really big component for the next game. And yeah, only time will tell how that goes. Hopefully we come out with 3 points, because it feels like it's been way too long. So yeah, that's all we had for this one. 1-1 draw at home against Seattle. we'll see what happens against DC, and we'll be here to cover that game. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.
Thank you.